For decades, citizens of Adelaide, the capital of South Australia, have been accustomed to the famous grey horses of the mounted police patrolling the streets of the city and its suburbs. During a recent trip down under, the Equestrian World team met up with Seargant Kelly-Anne Taylor-Wilson at the Thebarton Police Barracks.
A mounted operations unit is quite an old unit. It was first established in 1838 and is one of the oldest operational units in Australia. Initially, the horses were deployed throughout stations, obviously as the primary mode of transport. It transformed to what we know it today, where our primary role is operational policing and crowd disorder.
Here at the barracks, around 25 horses are stabled, and they all happen to be greys. The question why is a common one.
It actually stems as a tradition. Back in 1914, around just before the First World War, they recruited a lot of horses to go over and fight as part of the light horse. On the battlefield, you don't want to stand out, so part of the requisition was that they don't have greys or broken coloured horses, which obviously left the greys for us to utilise. In an operational capacity, we want that high visibility that the greys deliver.
As well as being grey, police horses have to be a minimum of 16 hands and have the temperament to cope with, on average, 3 years of training.
We're the only mounted operations unit in Australia that actually trains our horses right from the beginning, right through to the horse's highest level of training, which is public order training, in which case they're able to be deployed in crowd protests and civil disorder situations.
The stables have been the home of the mounted unit since way back in 1917. Pleasant surroundings, but to whose benefit? The horses or the staff?
Oh, well, I think it's a bit of both. We have 10 stable hands that are employed to assist in the welfare and feeding of the horses. So primarily they would care for the horses and also assist us in our deployment times to get us out there in an operational capacity a lot quicker.
The mounted police teams patrol in pairs and do everything that officers in a vehicle would do, but they do have the benefit of being more agile and able to move in and out of tighter spots, especially in heavy traffic.
Primarily on Friday and Saturday nights we'll patrol in the city. It's a lot of alcohol-fueled violence, drug-related offences that we deal with and street offences that evolve out of that. Saturday night we have the AC/DC concert, which is being held at the Adelaide Oval, so we'll be patrolling primarily the outside environs, keeping an eye on the crowd because they're expecting well over 50,000 people and making sure nothing eventuates in terms of offences.
Well, it was a relatively quiet night for the unit as the huge crowd dispersed after the concert. The horses here in Adelaide, whether out and about like tonight or on ceremonial duty, are all well trained and equally well looked after, especially when they retire.
All our horses obviously serve quite a long policing life due to our careful management. Horses patrol well into their teens and sometimes into their early 20s. Once we decide that they're fit for retirement, we ensure that obviously life after policing is certainly lived in comfort and allow them to live out the rest of their life in the utmost of care because of what they've given to us.
We'd like to take this opportunity to thank Seargant Taylor-Wilson and her colleagues at the Mounted Operations Unit for their helpful collaboration during our